Hello, everybody. We are back. I think this is episode 4, 3, something like that. I think it's 4, episode 4. Um, Last week went a little bit long. We did about 30 minutes last week. Don't know if you're going to get that again this week. Just stay tuned. We just got to keep hammering, as some people would say. Keep going. Don't let the flame die out. Okay, that's what people want. A little bit sunny. We got some natural light in here. I opened up a window a little bit so I don't have to use the blaring, awful light that is my camera light. So we're good there too as well. Welcome. This is the Tommy Rants podcast, the Tommy Rants show. It doesn't really matter what you call it. All I know is that I'm Tommy Rants and you're going to listen to me fucking go for about 30-ish minutes. So yeah, here we are. We're in it. We are in the thick of it when it comes to not shit happening. Sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes. I just like, in general, not a lot of shit has happened since the Super Bowl, and that whole thing with Kendrick and Drake. Kanye West is a Nazi. The buffer zone we talked about a little bit last week. However, this week though, and what happened over the weekend gave us an insane look into why the NHL is probably the best professional organization in North America. Because what we've seen from this Four Nations Championship Cup, like round robin, has been utterly amazing. Let me tell you what. They have flipped this entire idea of what an all-star break, what a mid-season hiatus with some sort of game slash event or events should be. And they have honestly kind of they've burned the traditional book. They've written their own. They've reinvented the wheel, man. They've reinvented the wheel in what again, like a mid-season all-star breakish type deal should be. It's just been absolutely insane. We haven't been this excited for hockey as a nation since the 2016 World Cup of Hockey. And even then, like it was like people didn't really know what was going on. But this right here, what we're witnessing right now, is the best. This is great. This is how you should feel watching all sports. It really is. If you tuned into that game on Saturday night, I believe it was, to watch the what did they call it? The Bell Center Brawl, I believe it. No, is it the Bell Center? I believe they were the Bell Center Brawl was utterly insane. It was epic. Three fights in 9 seconds. Like what? Like you can get that in the NHL a little bit, but they don't fight nearly as much. But you piss off the people of my country. You disrespect my country. We're gonna drop the gloves and get right fucking after it. These are technically, and I think that's what's great is that they're not holding back. They're playing because they're playing hard because they're representing their country. The name on the front means more than the name on the back. And that's a super massive cliche. But in this case, it's unbelievably true. And hockey players will display that more than any other professional sports player. Hockey players take their craft and their game and their sport and their team so seriously. Not that other players don't or other sports don't. But the team aspect of hockey is all that matters. The team. And you see it. You see it displayed with this Four Nations Cup. You got guys playing their asses off. We're in the middle of the season. We got NHL games on Saturday. These guys are going to play on Thursday night for an exhibition championship. This doesn't fucking matter. They didn't talk to the IIHL or IIHF, what the fuck ever it is. They're a bunch of pansy-ass motherfuckers anyways. Fuck them. But they did this on their own. The NHLPA and the NHL came together and said, how do we make our mid-season hiatus, our all-star break per se, better? And this is what they came up with, and it has been nothing but electric. Now, with the way the political world has probably added to it. I saw something somewhere that said, we haven't had a politically charged set of hockey games like this since 1980. And let me checks notes, won the Cold War. That's right. Beat the Soviet Union in hockey, ipso facto, politically, ipso facto, the fall of the Soviet Union happens in the next 10 years after that. And that was what a lot of people think was the turning point. It probably was. From a sports perspective, it definitely was, okay? So, won the Cold War in 1980. Next biggest politically charged hockey game, Saturday night after America's national anthem was booed twice in a row. We drop the gloves, we get right fucking after it, okay? So don't give me this bullshit about who our president is, about how just like the tariffs or taxes or whatever the fuck it is between our countries. No, you disrespect our national anthem, you're gonna get punched in the fucking mouth, okay? And that's how America's always been. Before we were America, you disrespected us with taxes. England, I'm talking to you. You know, England should be talking to Canada like, hey, you poked the fucking bear, okay? And now the bear is ready to fucking brawl. We're ready to go. Now, we had a little bit of a hiccup Monday night or Tuesday night or whatever the fuck that was against Sweden, I want to say, or Finland, one of the other two, right? But even though, even that, like, had a bit of a hiccup. I don't know if we were resting guys or not because we like that USA Canada game was it was like watching playoff hockey. It was like watching playoff hockey in February. And if you know what I'm talking about, you would A, agree, and B, be like, playoff style hockey in February, like count me the fuck in. And I think that's what we're missing, the intensity in the NBA All-Star game, in the Pro Bowl, in the MLB All-Star game. We're just missing it. We're missing the intensity. And don't get me started about the MLB All-Star weekend. Like, the home run derby is utterly fucked. Utterly fucked. You changed it so bad, you made a guy lose his job. Chris Berman's done. You changed the format and a guy lost his job. That's how you know you fucked up. The MLB, you need to change. The home run derby's garbage. Go back to outs. I don't care if it's 10 hours long. Go back to outs. Because the best part about the home run derby is everybody stopping and marveling at the absolute piss missile fucking nuke that some guy from the Dominican Republic just hit. That's what we want to see at the home run derby. I don't care who wins. I want to see tanks. I want to see fucking bombs, okay? That's what the home run derby's for. Don't give a fuck who can hit the most in like 2 minutes. That's like, why are we like, I don't know. Don't give me, I'm just like, timing in baseball. Baseball's a slow game. Let it be slow. Let it be boring. That's what it's meant for. It's like a picnic. You don't put a time limit on a picnic. You just go, you find some fucking friends that like sitting on towels and grass and like eating fucking sandwiches with the crust cut off, and you hang out there until you're bored. Or not bored, until you're fucking done. Because you're already bored, you're having a picnic. No offense, baseball. I love baseball, but like that's the harsh truth. Sorry. If you disagree with that, let me know. And then you have the NFL and the NBA. The NBA's is in the middle of the season. I don't know what the NBA has a fucking problem with just getting guys to show up for their own fucking team, let alone the All-Star break or the All-Star game. Like, you can't have an All-Star game if your All-Stars don't show up. If no one important is there and an All-Star is there, you don't have an All-Star game. However, shouts out to the white guy that won the dunk contest. I don't know your name, but you're putting on for us. So that's, yeah, like you have to be there. And that's the Pro Bowl's problem too. It's right, like guys don't want to go. Guys don't want to be there. It's the end of the year. We played, some of us has played 18 weeks, some of us has played, 19, 20 weeks. And we just don't want to, like, they don't want to go. I say we. I'm not an NFL player. That's for fucking sure. But they don't want to go. And we haven't seen anybody play in a mid-season / all-star game. We haven't seen anybody play this hard in an all-star game since fucking Sean Taylor killed a punter at the Pro Bowl. That's the last time we saw anybody play hard in any of these things. And the NHL, probably, the players were like, look, I love playing hockey, but I'm not going to be your fucking show pony for 2 fucking nights and do all these stupid goddamn tricks. that people want to see. And that's how the NFL needs to look at it. Because all these dumbass games that they're playing the Thursday before the flag football game, like, that's lame. That's like, again, like, what am I, some fucking show pony? You're gonna show me off. So, ooh, look at all the cool tricks he can do. Watch him dive for a ball into a fucking foam pit. How is that entertaining? Watch the quarterback hit targets. Well, again, what? Come on, people. Come on. It has to change. We have to find a way to make it matter. I don't even think the MLB All-Star Game matters for home field advantage in the World Series anymore. Like, that's how far removed we've become from games like All-Star games and the Pro Bowl game mattering. Like, Pro Bowl, you used to get a bonus that was like legit. It was like a decent sized bonus. And the MVP got like a fucking car or something like that. So we need to make it matter more. I don't know what it is. I'm spewing a bunch of hate and not nice rhetoric, but I don't have an answer. Hopefully by next week I have an answer for you guys. I probably won't, but I'll try. I think for the Pro Bowl, you just make the flag football game more. You make it bigger. You add an offensive line. You put some arm guards on people. You know, you pass a lot. You don't run too much. Run the empty set. So we get our pass blockers and we get our offensive linemen, our defensive linemen working. There's my mute and cough for the show. So, but yeah, no, I think you make it 11 on 11 because at the end of the day, like 7 on 7 isn't fucking football, right? So you make it 11 on 11, no pads, or at least like the really thin shoulder pads that they wear during walkthroughs, and it's just helmets only. You know, you make them wear shit like that, or you make them put scrum caps on. And yeah, you run some reps like that. And then for the NBA, I don't know what to do about the NBA, man. You guys don't even want to fucking play for your own team in the regular season. I can't even get you to do that. So why should I try and get you to show up for the All-Star game? More on that to come. But to finish that rant, yeah, we just got to make it matter. We got to make stuff matter again. And I don't know if it's like, because the promotions are kind of stupid too, you know, like all the ads and the ad campaigns that you see for all these, they're just like dumb. They're dumb. They don't excite you. It's just very obvious that they're again trotting out these $1 million athletes to make fucking. It's kind of like watching the circus. You ever been to the circus? And not the one that like, it's the one that shows up once a year and it's like a traveling circus. That's what it's like. It's like, hey, come watch this freak of nature like dunk. And I'm not trashing the dunk. I am kind of trashing the dunk contest because I already trashed the home run derby. But that's what it seems like. It seems like we're just trotting out these $1 million athletes to be like, oh, look what we can do. Look at how high they can jump. Look at how fast they can run. It's like, so we got the combine. So we get to watch them do all that shit. And then it's the season. And then it's essentially like, oh, do the combine shit all over again at the Pro Bowl. Like, it's just shitty repetitiveness. It sucks. It's all for money. They make enough. Everybody makes enough money. Why don't we do something for fun that matters? And I think that's what the NHL did. So kudos to the NHL. Also, Canada plays the USA tomorrow. It's Wednesday right now, but when this comes out, it'll be Thursday. From everything that I've read, Quinn Hughes will not be traveling up to Boston to play with the boys. I know there was speculation about him possibly joining to, add a little bit of depth. Some guys got banged up playing hockey, not at the bars, after beating Canada the first time. Some guys got banged up. We need a little bit more depth. That's not happening, so we'll just have to get it done with the boys we got against Canada tomorrow. I think we get it done. Give me USA money line. And both Tkachuk brothers, Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk, whatever you want to call it, call them. Points. Give me 1 point for each of them, and USA money line against the Canadians. You maple syrup loving motherfuckers. That's all I have to say about Canada for now, I guess. Moving on to two different countries, though. It looks like the Ukrainian and Russian war is about to end. The Russo-Ukrainian conflict, as they call it. It just... This whole situation is very interesting, and honestly, from the start, it's been a bad look for Russia. You're just punching down. You're punching down on the little guy who, like, you just, it's like that ex that caught you cheating. Not even that. I don't even know what this is like. This is like this would be like if the Kansas City Chiefs just started burying the Jets any opportunity they got. It's like, dude, it's the Jets. Like, we all bury the Jets no matter what. Not even that, dude. The Ukraine, like, just like Russia is so concerned about some tiny little European country that they used to own a millennia ago. I'm paraphrasing here. A millennia ago, and they just can't fucking get over it. It's like that X you can't get over. It's like that ground ball you buffed in the freshman baseball game that, let a couple runs score and you end up losing. That's that, okay? That's missing the tackle in the A gap for a touchdown. And you can't get over that. So what do? You take it out on the scout team player later the next week and you break that guy's fucking collarbone. That's exactly what it's like right there. There's my sports reference for you. Sports analogy for you, should I say. But yeah, no. The Russians just look bad. You took Crimea in like 2014 or whatever, and it was like, all right, a small piece of the pie, doesn't really fucking matter for us. And then, some sanctions happened, but I believe those probably went away because they always do. That's all just bold talk, right, for Paul. Oh, we're going to put some sanctions on them. Oh, yes, we're going to make sure that their milk is 2 cents more expensive. In the eyes of rubles, I guess, because, Russians. But anyways, yeah, it's like, oh, the sanctions and stuff like that. It's just like Russia just, continues to punch down. It's a really, really bad look. And now you're in a fight with essentially what is the Europe's version of Southerners, if I'm being dead honest. I haven't been to the Ukraine. I haven't really met any Ukrainians, but everything I've seen from that area, they like their guns, they like their freedom, and they're fucking willing to die for it. And they absolutely hate the fucking Russians for shit that they did before 2014. We can get into that, well, I guess right now. So the Soviet Union starved a bunch of Ukrainians in the 30s because of what is it, like centralized farming or something like that. A bunch of Ukrainians starved. They let it happen, and no one did anything about it. It was covered up, honestly. Like, anybody who tried to go into the region was either killed or they weren't allowed in there, or they just weren't allowed into Russia to begin with. So there's that. And then Russia owned the Ukraine for a very long time. Chernobyl's in the Ukraine, I believe, or around it, which a bunch of people died senselessly for. The whole nuclear meltdown and everything. The Ukrainians have it tough. They're hard people. They're fucking hard people. It's cold all the time in the Ukraine. Country smells like soup. There's radiation just roaming around all over the place. You walk into some random fucking town, you're like, oh, this place is nice. Dead, radiation. That's what happens in the Ukraine. It's insane. It's nuts. So you're like, you know what? Let's try and take their country. And Russia's just paying the price for it. Again, they're like the Southerners of Europe, and compared to Americans, guns all over the place. They love their country, and they hate the Russians. They fucking hate the Russians because everybody's grandpa or grandma from the Ukraine was killed by a Russian guy, or great grandfather or great great grandfather was killed by some Russian asshole. So yeah, they fucking hate the Ukraine, or they hate the Ukrainians hate the Russians. Bad. Oh, and they like the booze too. The Ukrainians love the booze. The potato juice, the good vodka, good potato juice, your European potato juice. As I almost dropped my iPad here. But yeah, so all that happens. The famine, World War II, Chernobyl, Soviet Union. Then they take Crimea, and then they invade. They just flat out invade in 2022. And now, to rub salt into Russia's wound, they're economy is collapsing. Now, this might be because of the sanctions that I mentioned earlier that really don't do anything but might. But also, that was like they did that in 2014. They might have added. We definitely added a few when they invaded in 22. But still, like all this for a tiny compared to Russia. The Ukraine is so small compared to Russia. It's tiny. It is minuscule. And for the Russians to just be so concerned about the Ukrainians and the Ukraine is just hilarious. Because now their economy is collapsing at a rapid pace. Putin is spending way more money than he's got left in the bank, and they can't crank enough rubles out fast enough to make it happen. On top of that, he's spending a bunch of money because again the sanctions or whatever. Um, and now the guy who's in charge for us, he's telling the EU like, hey, figure your shit out, man. Figure out Europe. Get this taken care of, so I don't have to come in and flex my muscles and possibly start World War III. That being said, not a huge fan to like the point it makes it looks like we're working with Russia and like we're telling the Ukraine to end the war. I don't really like that. I think that's a bad look. I think we should, America as the previous little guy should always be helping the little guys. And I get that it has to start with the Russians probably to get to the Ukrainians for a ceasefire. But I think we can help the Ukrainians in different ways besides working with the Russians to end the war with Ukraine. I think that might be a bad look. That might be a bad look. We don't like working with the Russians. At least I don't. I don't like working with the Russians. Never have, never will. As me personally. But yeah, there's also reports that like North Korean troops are fleeing and like deserting their posts and stuff like that. They're running like a bunch of bitches. Apparently there was I referenced it in an older video, but like everybody they sent over didn't know how the fuck to do anything. They had to be trained by the Russians who were barely trained. A bunch of 20-year-olds I'm hearing. A bunch of 20-year-olds. And now too like I get why Zelensky or whatever, like why he's like fuck no, I want to keep fighting because he knows he can get Russia to capitulate without him taking the entire country. If he continues to fight Putin, Putin's going to run out of money and the country's going to go bankrupt and it's going to get sold to the highest bidder, us. And by us I mean U.S. as in the United States of America, biatch. We are the highest bidder. Even though we don't really have a lot of money either. We owe China quite a large sum of money. But that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is that if I am Zelensky, I want to keep fighting. I want to see Russia burn from the inside out. And he's doing that right now. And, like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is, too, it's like, like we've been watching this war happen at like live and in time, and it's like it's funny because it's like the strategy documentaries from World War II that I grew up watching. It's like, oh, Hitler really fucked up when he tried to invade Russia. No one's ever done it before. He ran out of gas 10 miles out of Moscow or whatever, and then he tries to go to Stalingrad, and because Stalin's name is in it, not really a massive military point that they needed. I mean, they needed to get across the Volga to get to the oils, the oil refineries and stuff like that were like farther southeast of that. But Stalingrad, for the most part, was not a major military target that they needed to take. Same thing with Leningrad. He gets caught up in that, and then he gets booted from Russia. They're on the heels. The next thing you know, the war's over. Right? Berlin. He shoots himself in the head. The thing is, not the whole Hitler part and him dying. The thing is, like, we're witnessing this as it happens. When the Russians first invaded, it was like, all right, the Russians need to take the airport outside of Kyiv so they can, fly in supplies instead of having to use trains to train things in. You use trains like it's the 1930s. When you're using horse and carriage and buggies and shit like that is something that we've been seeing just kind of like as it happens. Whereas World War One, World War Two, some of these older things, there was a lot of stuff hidden from the people, and we could just kind of see, like the map move and the territory that we won, because we haven't really seen a war kind of like that in a while. I think it's just interesting to be like, oh, yep, Russians didn't take the airfield. That's gonna suck. Oh, the Ukraine used a bunch of drones to fuck up the Russian Navy. That's never happened before. Oh, the Russians tried to, you know, put together a counterattack and take some more key positions. And next thing you know, that fucking fails, and the Ukrainians are so jacked up they turn that into their own offensive. And now there's a big bulge in the line to the east around Kursk. So it's been interesting to kind of see how like all of that, what we would call history in a history documentary, is happening right now. And like you can turn on a YouTube video from 3 months ago or a month ago and be like, oh, the state of the Russo-Ukrainian war is not going very well for the Russians right now. And in like deep, intimate detail, like because there's drones with cameras on it and everything like that. Like we have so much information about this war at our fingertips immediately as it happens. It's just kind of, it's been interesting to like be a part of that and to like see it unfold and follow along and everything like that. All right, that was my last mic mute of the day. Sorry. I said it was only going to happen once. It happened twice. I had to cough. Leave me alone. I'm still working out, my the whole frog in my throat type thing. So don't eat frogs, kids, if you're out there listening. Just kidding. This you got to be 18 years or older to watch Tommy Rants. Sorry, kiddos. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Don't be corrupted like that. But yeah, so I mean, like at the end of the day, the Russians have honestly, like, they deserve all of this. They deserve the karma. They deserve the economic collapse. Putin deserves to be dragged out of the Kremlin by his ears, possibly beheaded. That would be very French. I'm not saying I want it to happen, but I can see it. The Europeans, they get down like that. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, especially with the new guy in office here in America. He's going to force something to happen. I don't know what yet, but he's going to force something to happen. When that happens, you will hear it from me. Not first, but you will hear it from me about all that. To end on a lighter note, you know what? This isn't a lighter note. I got a fucking bone to pick. This might be a new segment. It won't be, but it might be. I got a fucking bone to pick with all of you professional athletes. 40%? 40% of professional athletes? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many athletes, but there's enough of you guys, all right? Why do we pay you so much? Why do we have to pay you so much money? Cuz it seems like everything mattered more for professional athletes when they had to like work that second job in the off season to feed their family, right? Like sports, I'm not going to say we're way more entertaining, but again, people cared a lot more because they knew that the players cared. And now you have guys signing or not signing or becoming free agents and leaving teams or asking for trades because they can't get past $1 million here or $1 million there in a contract that's worth $158 million. Like, what the fuck? How come we have people in America, we have troops in America, we have people who do all types of great things, pinching pennies, don't have a pot to piss in. But we got some arrogant ass quarterback, point guard, fucking starting pitcher, maybe a catcher or something like that, shortstop, center fielder, safety, defensive lineman, center, big man, whatever you want to say. We got guys like that throwing fits over $1 million. That's part of a $200 million contract. Get your fucking head together. Figure out what matters in life. It's not all about money. You've made over $100 million. You should be able to create generational wealth for your family for the rest of time with that $100 million. If you don't know how to do that, maybe you should have spent some more time in class at college, where you have to go before you go pro, with the exception of the MLB. That's the only exception I'll give you. Why Do people who work for these organizations not make enough money and work themselves to death, but the players who only kind of want to be there, it seems like sometimes, are getting paid millions? I'm telling you, sports were better. People cared more when you had to get on a bus for a 10-game road trip, when you had to ride a fucking train to get to your next football game. That's when sports were at its peak. When you had to ride a private plane that you didn't know if the wings were going to stay on for your whole flight. That's when professional sports was at its best. I'm fucking with my mic right now. I'm sorry. And athletes seem to care more because they weren't making all that much money. Athletes were, I feel like, especially with the NIL and stuff like that now, it's like athletes are no longer trying to get to professional sports to create a better life for their family. They've already created a better life for their family because of NIL and stuff. I'm not villainizing the NIL. I'm not saying we need to go back to the dark ages where kids, college football players are making hundreds of millions of people a lot of money and very, very happy and playing on the biggest stages, and then go home and all they have to eat is ramen and chicken nuggets. I don't say we don't have to go back to that. We don't have to go back to the days of Reggie Bush and Reggie Bush. Sound like I've been smoking that Reggie though. No, we don't have to. We don't have to go back to the days of Reggie Bush. We don't have to go back to the days of Johnny Manziel. We do, however, need to fix something. And I think it starts, with, like value, right? Like I understand there's value in players, and the you pay a guy because that's an investment. It's a business investment for future business. But these companies, these organizations, these sports, these ball clubs, as people like to call them, are making money hand over fist. And so are these athletes. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. As a humble, poor person, like you can't have a league where fans care more than the athletes do. And that's happening in the NBA right now. Fans in the NBA care way more about their teams than the athletes on their teams do. That's a fact. And if you don't believe that, then you're a fucking mark. You're a mark-ass NBA fan who's just naive to the NBA's rigged. They caught Terry Donahue or that fucking ref rigging games. The NBA's rigged. We know it is. So continue to pull your head out of your ass and figure out that, these guys are making way too much money. I'm not going to spend my time or money watching them. And that's another just massive problem. It's destroying the NBA, and I think it's slowly destroying the NFL. Trevor Lawrence got paid $100 million whatever the fuck dollars. Trevor fucking Lawrence? Dak Prescott ain't won shit in the league. And I hate to name drop here, but it's fucking true. Why are we paying these guys this much money? I get that the market is where it's at, but pay them for what they're worth, dude. And because now you got guys with egos and shit like that. You got a guy like Carson Wentz, who had no business being drafted first overall, has one MVP season and lives off that for the rest of his life. Didn't even help his team win the Super Bowl in the playoffs. Did nothing. And then gets sent to team after team after team with a large contract, I assume. I just don't, again, I hate to name drop. I really do. I don't dislike any of these players. It's just, it appalls me. It appalls me that it's more about the check than it is about the sport. How did we get so far removed from that? That it's more about the check than it is about the game you play and love. Because I'd give my left nut to play any type of professional sport. Any type of professional sport. And there are thousands, hundreds and thousands, millions of people just like me. But we're not gifted. We didn't know the right people. We didn't go to the right school. We didn't work hard enough. We didn't get good enough grades. That's part of not working hard enough. Whatever it may be. Not driven enough. But and even then, I don't even want to throw that in there because some of these guys aren't. They're just blessed with talent and being at the right place at the right time and stuff like that. And now they're making millions and millions of dollars. Doesn't that piss you off as a fan? Doesn't that make you fucking angry? It makes me angry. It makes it hard to watch sometimes. That might have more to do with me being a Raider fan, but who knows? We suck anyways. And again, I'm not saying we got to go back to the days before World War II where, there's no free agency and owners literally own you and control your life and how you play the game and where you want to go. We don't need to do that. But these players associations, it's kind of become I don't know, man. We need to find a middle ground between paying everybody a ridiculous amount of money and treating people like they're not worth anything and they're just objects for money. But that's kind of what you're doing when you pay them that much anyways. But not paying them, but the object isn't I'm not paying the object. I'm pocketing most of the cash and I can do whatever I want with you because you signed a contract and I technically own you. So, but we do need to hold these athletes accountable. I think maybe there's a clause where it's like a performance clause. Oh, you didn't meet the standard we set when we signed this contract, just like everybody else does in their daily lives. Oh, we hire you to be a nurse and you're not doing what you have to do to be a successful nurse to keep people alive. Guess what? You're fired. Guess what? We're going to take your pay down. I think that's what it should be. What was that from Mr. Deeds? The quarter, because he turns out he owns the New York Jets. The quarterback comes in, he goes, "Hey, I did all this. I want more fucking money." And Mr. Deeds looks at him, is like, "Well, if you had played fucking bad and you thrown a bunch of picks and we'd missed the playoffs, would I be allowed to give you less money?" I think that's something we really need to think about because we're just. And now you got the Saints, they're in salary cap trouble for a long time. And it's not by a little, it's by $80 million or something like that, all just to win. But you keep getting screwed over by these people who aren't healthy or they don't want to be there. They're looking for a trade and then you're on the hook for all the fucking money. I don't know, make the off-season bonuses worth more. I want to see a regression in all of the sports salaries with the exception of hockey. Because hockey players deserve it. They bust their ass. Hockey players deserve as much as players in the NBA do. And NBA players deserve as much as hockey players do. That needs to flip. Those two things need to flip. Because we saw it earlier this week. And we're going to see it tonight. Well, tomorrow night. Tonight, if you're watching on Thursday. Guys who play like that all the time, no matter what it is, whether it's an exhibition, the playoffs, regular season, guys who play like that deserve hundreds of $millions. Guys in leagues where they say, "Oh, you can't do this if you don't play enough games." Guys in those leagues should either be sent home or their paychecks get cut in half. You're not worthy of all that money. You are not worthy. I'm not saying you're not good enough. I'm not saying you don't deserve it. You are not worthy of our time and our money. So become worthy. I say to the MLB, to the NBA, to the NFL, become worthy again. Make us care. Football, it's easy to care because it's gone for so long. It's only around for so long. Baseball's the entire fucking year. The NBA is the entire year. The NHL is as long as the NBA is, so that's a wash. But, earn it. Earn it. Find your worth. Become worthy again. And maybe we won't trash you on fucking Twitter every time you miss a free throw. Or miss a block. Throw an interception. Strike out 3 times in a game. We won't fucking clown you. If you're just worthy, humble. Attitude of gratitude. I said it last week. I'll say it fucking again. The attitude of gratitude. That being said, I've talked for probably way too long. And that's it. I'm grateful to be here. Attitude of gratitude. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that people listen. If you don't listen, that's fine too. Hopefully there's a show next week and enough shit happens between now and next week. If not, oh well. It was a fun ride. But I like to think that there will be a next week. Hopefully, see ya. Bye.